Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another Battle to the Death for you. Today, we have the Kershaw Launch 9 versus the Protech Calmigo. Both of these knives, made in the USA, both are California legal. If you don't know what that means that the blade has to be less than 2 inches. Both of these have blades very slightly less than 2 inches. And other than that, you're allowed to carry an auto in California. A weird law, but a weird law that has produced some pretty cool little knives, actually. These two, especially, these two are two of my favorite ones. Both Kershaw and Protech make several different California legal models, at least two each, and they're just cool little things. They're great little fifth pocket knives. They're great little, kind of backup knives if you're in a place where you can carry a larger auto. I think they're both pretty cool, and after kind of resisting the tiny auto thing, I have gotten kind of into them, and these are two of my favorites. So here we go. Let's talk about how this goes first. How does it score? Well, same as always. We have 7 categories: design and aesthetics, quality, blade, ergonomics, carry, deployment, and value. At the end of them, we add them all up, and everybody gets a point for each category they win, and we pick a winner. Now, I do have to talk about our sponsor. As always, the Battles to the Death are sponsored by Southern Edge Knife Works. Go to southernedgeknifeworks.com, use the code SDSEK at checkout. Get 50% off and free shipping in the continental U.S., $15 if you live overseas. Both still pretty good deals, so check them out. Now, let's get going and talk about these knives individually. We'll do the newest one first. The Kershaw Launch 9 is brand new for 2020, and it's a shrunken down version of one of their other designs, and which escapes me at the moment, and one of the other launches, and it's just launch 3 maybe, but it's a really cool looking knife, very futuristic kind of design, lots of detailing going here, aluminum handles, you have CPM 154 steel, and American made, obviously, by their usual American flag on there, deep carry pocket clip, and just a really well done knife for $85. So not horribly overpriced at all by any stretch of the imagination for a really good auto with really good steel. That's not bad at all. Now, the Protech. The Calmigo has been out for a hot minute, at least a year and a half, maybe 2, and it comes in many, many, many different versions. This is what they call the Tron version. This is one of the higher price versions. This one's $140, but they start at $125 for a more basic, a stonewash blade with just pure flat black handles. You are getting aluminum handles again, same as on the launch, but 154 CM steel, which is it's basically the older version of 154, where CPM is the newer version. But I do really like the look of it, especially in this Tron version or some of the other versions. I think it looks pretty cool. It looks a bit unbalanced, I guess is the best way to say it, with that tiny little blade. But I do appreciate the big handle, which we'll talk about more. Bigger handle, still small, but bigger handle. We'll go in there more, but some of the other versions are just gorgeous, absolutely, for sure. You can get like rose gold blades and all kinds of little, they've done a bunch with different button inlays, one with red, and I think they have a pearl one, and you can go up to crazy money with these. I'm going to call the price, for the average one that a normal human would buy, $125 to $140, but I mean, you can spend hundreds on one of these. They've had some really amazing custom ones that are semi-custom ones that are just awesome. So now let's do some specs and some size comparisons. No size comparisons. This is a battle to the death. I'm sorry, that was a reflex. Let's start out with the Calmigo because it's what I have in my hand at the moment. Both of these, again, very small knives. You have an overall length of 5.5 inches, blade length of 1.99 inches. They really squeeze in under that 2-inch limit. You have a blade thickness of 0.11 inches and a handle thickness of 0.45 inches and a weight of 2.2 ounces. Now, on the Launch 9, you have an overall length of just 5 inches, blade length of 1.8 inches, blade thickness, according to my calipers, is 0.12 inches, and handle thickness of 0.48 inches, and a weight of, 1.5 ounces. So a little bit lighter, as you expect, because it's a little bit smaller. All right, now let's get on to our scoreable categories. This is always the toughest one and the most objective, and the one that I most encourage you to disregard if you want to disregard one of them. Design and aesthetics. As far as just the overall shape and everything, yeah, I like the Launch 9 better. It looks more balanced. I like the milling and stuff they've done on it. It looks really cool. They've a lot of nice details on the back. The pocket clip looks nice. It's just a fair amount of billboarding. You can knock it for that, I guess. And I've never liked that it says Kershaw Auto on all their autos. Nice way to tell I'm a rat. But it's if you're trying to sneak one around, which I never do. But if you're trying to sneak one around, it's kind of hard to convince someone that it's not an auto when it says so right there. But other than that little thing, it's a really nice looking knife for sure. Whereas the Calmigo, as I said, it has a bit of a balance issue, but I did learn to appreciate why it has that. As you'll see as we go on, but it comes in so many versions, and this Tron one is really cool. I wish they did the Tron with a stonewash blade. I couldn't find one of those. They probably have. They've done so many versions of the Calmigo. But other than the coated blade, I really like this little Tron pattern. I don't know if the camera's going to do it justice. It's pretty cool. But also some of the other versions, especially those really high price ones, are just so crazy. But even like for reasonable prices, you can get ones. They have these new rose gold finished blades. I kind of want to try one of those on a Protech. They look pretty cool. And yeah, and you get the different buttons and all that stuff, button finishes. So overall design, I like the Launch 9 a bit better. But there's so many options on these Calmigos that I'm going to call it a tie because I really can't decide. And again, this is the most subjective category. So yeah. Quality. Both of these are pretty well made. This is a USA made Kershaw, as I said at the front. Those are usually pretty good. They do a really good job of the Launch series. They're very, very well made. A whole lot to like about them, but they're not quite Protech's. Protech is amazingly good quality. Some of the best you can find in the knife industry, period. Forget just autos, just period. Their manuals are amazingly well made too. And now they've stepped up their box game. I'll bring that one out. I'm not even going to bother bringing out the Kershaw box because it's just your typical normal, black and red normal just box. But you get this nice magnetic closure box now, the little slidey thing, and it comes with a nice little packet, nice little pouch and everything. They're just really, really, really well done. And I know it's a tiny thing, and it's not the reason that I'm giving the win to the Protech. I'm giving it based on the knife, not on the packaging. But it is a nice little thing. This is a more expensive knife. It feels like a more expensive knife from the packaging right down to the knife itself. Now the blade, arguably the most important part of the knife. This one was pretty close. You have CPM 154 versus 154 CM. As I said, CPM 154 made with a different process, a lot of the same materials, but it does come out usually a bit better to sharpen and a bit more consistent to sharpen, and a bit tougher edge. I like 154 in both of its guises. They both have pretty similar blade stock. It's a bit thicker on the Launch, but not a whole lot. Thickness behind the edge was identical on both of them, about 24 thousandths. You have a little bit higher flat grind on the Protech. Slicing wise, I couldn't really notice much of a difference, honestly. These are both pretty small blades. Theoretically, this should slice a little bit better because it's a thinner blade stock with a higher grind. It should. It probably does with some kind of scientific monitoring equipment that I don't have. But this is still, they both feel about the same. And at the end of the day, it's CPM 154. It's slightly better steel on the Kershaw. So I have to give it to the Kershaw on the blade, just barely. A narrow win I'm going to give, and almost kind of a reluctant win, because I do like the blade shape better on this, but blade shapes are subjective. So going to give the win narrowly to the Kershaw on the blade. Now, as far as the ergos goes, this was not close. Small knives are difficult to get right. I think that Kershaw did an okay job. It's not bad, but it's definitely a 3-finger knife, absolutely. And this pocket clip is a pretty significant hotspot, almost kind of a double hotspot. If you move it just right, it becomes one hotspot, but still I have this very high placement here at the back, to get the deep carry, and a very severe ramp there that you are definitely going to feel. And it doesn't fill the hand like at all. And I get that it's small, but it almost feels even smaller than it is. So definitely very easy win to the Calmigo, because the Calmigo does not feel small. I can get off, if I kind of choke up here, which I don't know if they really intend for you to do that. I think they intend for you to carry it like this as a 3-finger knife, which it works very well for. But if you're doing lighter duty stuff, you're not worried about slipping up on the blade, you can move up a little bit. And I do get all 4 fingers on here without much problem at all, honestly. So the way the thickness of this handle just fills my hand better. It's kind of a chunky looking handle, but it does fit my hand a lot better because they're not trying to do anything fancy. Either way you use it, if you use it the way that it seems like they intend you to, or if you want to choke up a little bit, I'm not going to say this is a hugely comfortable knife. Obviously, it's very small. You can still feel that pocket clip, but it's not to the point at all I would call it a hot spot, where I definitely would on the Launch 9. So very, 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 very easy win to the Calmigo. Carry-wise, the Calmigo's bigger. It's heavier. Obviously, the Launch 9 is going to win, right? No, no, because again, that pocket clip kind of screws it here. I'm gonna do these in both the main pocket and the 5th pocket, because depending on where you are, if you're in California, you're probably gonna carry this as a main knife. If you're living other places, you're probably gonna carry it as a 5th pocket knife. So we'll do both. The problem is, in both places on the Launch 9, is that this pocket clip, whilst it goes very deep, it doesn't have recessed screws, but honestly, it's not really a problem here. I'm not going to knock it for that, because I've never noticed it catching on anything or anything like that. But that ramp on it is just pretty. Not only is it a high ramp, you can see, it comes to a point. It's a bit scratchy. Just walking around, I brush my hand against it, go, ow. If I owned this long term, I would definitely bend that down. And in the 5th pocket, it kind of is almost even worse, because it's sitting here in the 5th pocket. All right, cool. I have another knife here or other stuff, but your hand's going by that point all the time, and it's horribly annoying. It's light. It's definitely easy to get your hand past and all that stuff. It's very tiny, but that pocket clip is just not doing it for me. Whereas Protech does a great job of recessed screws. Yay. I don't know why more people don't do that. It's a bit of a large pocket clip for a knife this size, but it works very well. It's very securely placed. Easy to get your hand past. And same thing when it's in the 5th pocket. It's not annoying because the ramp doesn't end with that point sticking up. So as you can see, when you're trying to get your hand past to go into your pocket, there's not a big bunch of ramps sticking up. Just a tiny little bit there. And it isn't so sharp of a point at the end, because it's not pointed upwards. It's pointed at a 90-degree angle. So that is much, much better. I do really appreciate that. And also, the way they do the milling, they make sure that it's landing on a flat spot, which is just a very nice little touch for them to do. It's very easy to get this thing in and out of your pocket. Pretty easy win on the carry to the Calmigo. Now the deployment. This one was really, 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 really hard. I thought, before I started playing with them more, that's going to be the Protech all day long, but because Protech has amazing deployment. But both of these kick like mules, both pretty even as far as that goes. I don't really know how to measure the kick exactly on these, but just from my relatively uncalibrated hands, they both kick pretty evenly. They both, when you close, they're both almost the same in smoothness. I would say that the Protech closes a little bit smoother, but not dramatically so. I thought about giving a very... Let me shut up. Yeah, you can hear that. They're just... Yeah, I have to call them pretty even. And honestly, I was going to give a very slight win to the Protech just because it's that bit smoother on the closing, but here's why I'm not, and why I'm calling it a tie. It's that the safety on it. It doesn't need it. I have other. My Protech SBR doesn't have it and doesn't need it. It's the same kind of recessed button. Not really sure why they put it on this one. I know it's not a California law thing, because both of these are Cali legal, and the Launch 9 doesn't have it. It's kind of annoying because I never use it, because every time I've used it, And I take the knife out, I forget. I'm like, oh, come on. You know, I keep forgetting that it's on there. And I just don't. You can do it, you know, when it's open too. If you want to. But I just feel it's unneeded. So if this didn't have that lock, then I would probably give the deployment and action to the Protech. But I'm going to call it even. Just because that lock's there. I don't know where else to penalize it for that. I don't like the safety lock. So, all right. Value. This is a narrow win for the Kershaw. You'd think 85 to 125, it would be a very easy win for the Kershaw. It has better steel, etc. The price difference is not insignificant, but this does feel $40, $50, $40, $45, whatever, more expensive than the Launch 9. It does. It just feels that way. I don't know how else to describe that. You kind of have to have them back to back, but this still feels really nice, but this just feels better. But this feels appropriately priced. This does feel still like a bit of a bargain. So I'm going to give a narrow win in the value to the Launch 9. And hopefully they do come out with more colors in the Launch 9 and stuff, and I'm sure they will. Kershaw always does. It does seem to be doing pretty good. So where does that leave us? We have a score of 3-2 with 2 ties with a win for the Calmigo, which is exactly where I'm putting my money at, because this Launch 9 is already sold. It's dropping in a box and going out in the mail tomorrow. So this one is sold. It's going away. And the Calmigo, honestly, I didn't really care to get. Wasn't one that was on my radar. Got here anyway. And I'm impressed with it enough that I'm going to hold on to it for a while, because it is just cool. And it's just a comfortable little knife to have in your pocket. It's got that nice, you know, crisp bang Protech sound, that really nice Protech build. I do like this Tron thing. Like I said, I wish it wasn't coated, but other than that, pretty nice looking. I like having it out, and it's one Protech that I can, or one automatic period, that I can open in front of my family, and they don't wig out too much. So they go, what was that? And then they see it's just a cute little knife. And they're like, oh, that's neat. Instead of being like, oh my God, what is that? So, yeah, the Calmigo is the one that I would keep. But again, if you can't afford it, the Launch series are always awesome values in the automatic arena. I'm looking forward to a Launch 11, and we'll have that one on here. So, and probably in a comparison with another Protech. So we'll see if it goes differently on those 2 models. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Stay safe. Wash your damn hands. Have a good one.